So you guys were very successful almost right off the gate with WMA?
Took us about 2 years of getting in, because we were with a few other smaller companies trying to get our footing, get things moving.
Right.
And then once they came into the picture, things really took off.
Okay. And then walk us through, now we come to maybe 1998, if that's right, where now WFG is going to be created from WMA, certain all the different things that, I know there's a lot of moving parts in that whole story, but.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of things that went on, but, I think one of the things that it was advantageous for them to come in and buy us, for their shareholders. They didn't have an exclusive with us. We had other carriers that we were doing business with too. And so we weren't captive to them. We could have pulled the plug and told our guys to go somewhere else and start selling, right? They had a home office down there, 300 employees. They'd put a lot of money into this. And so it was advantageous for them, their shareholders, to go out and make a deal and acquire it and make it so that, and I think as you look back on it, that was a really amazing move, because if you look at it, I think they're about 15 times bigger today with the volume we're doing than when they took over. Wow. So it tells you that, going in and having deep pockets and having money, and that's why I think a lot of these little startup companies, as I look at it, and I've seen a lot of them come through the years, that capital becomes one of their biggest issues.
Sure, yeah,
right?
That's tough, yeah.
And I mean, you can have things come at you and not have enough capital, or you can grow too fast.
Right.
I mean, in
it's
A.O.
got to
Williams,
be right in the middle.
Yeah, A.O. Williams, that we were struggling with out of the way. When we got to WMA, we were struggling with growing too fast.
Sure.
Right. So until Aegon came into the picture.
Right.
So I knew that was a real issue. So by them infusing capital in was a big deal, and it's proven to really be a great thing. And I think too, a couple other things I've seen that's really been advantageous is that the leadership is they're more of a platform now, okay, where you truly can go out now and build a company within a company. Prior to, it was kind of like Leadership Central. All the leadership was coming from headquarters down, and everybody was kind of marching in unison.
So it was more personality, like a cult of personality kind of a thing?
Hubert was kind of driving everything.
Almost like Carl Williams, I guess, in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone kind of,
that was the same.
That was certainly cult of personality there, right?
Yeah, it was same kind of, and a very strong personality.
Sure.
Which were wonderful for what they did, and the motivation, the drive, the things. I mean, there's some great things and lessons to learn there from them.
But it's also almost anti-systematic, isn't it? In a sense, when you're dealing with when it's personality driven as opposed to system driven.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it talks about in E-Myth. That's why most businesses fail, right?
Yeah.
Because they are personality driven instead of system driven. So what's happened is this is kind of morphed over time. Is really the leadership now is coming from the field, and the ability to be able to go out and create your company within a company, but yet to use their backing, to use their money, to use their expertise, all the support stuff. So I don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
I just have to worry about the thing that I'm best at, which is building distribution.
Right.
Finding, recruiting, training, building people. That's the thing that's most important. So that's been a major change that I've watched as things have gone on. So, as the company was sold, at that period of time, I had started during the WMA era. I had my team in Fresno, and I had some team Utah team throughout the U.S., but I'd spent a lot of time building in Canada because we had opened up in Canada, and I started the Canadian operation. Okay. I went up and they put me in charge not only of building the field force, which I was doing down here with my team, but I also was in charge of putting the home office together, finding the carriers, dealing with the regulators, getting everything set, creating the home office, kind of duplicating up there what we had done down here.
For WMA?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And so I was up there and I spent a good share of my time up in Canada through all the provinces of Canada and just loved it. Loved the entrepreneurial nature. There's more new Canadians than there are new Americans. Mm-hmm. There are more people looking for an opportunity, more of a dream. So I loved that side of it up there in Canada. And so I did that, and then Aegon and WMA decided that we were going to do a joint venture and expand into some other countries. And so we did a international division. We had Taiwan, Philippines, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Canada in addition. They asked me to move to Atlanta, and so I did. Moved my family here, and we lived here 5 years, and I was in charge of that international expansion in between us and Aegon. And that was a great experience. I learned a lot of wonderful things through that experience. The system, for one, was that here it is, it's not just working in the U.S., it's working in Canada.
Right.
Right? And not only there, now it's working in Puerto Rico, it's working in Mexico, it's working in Taiwan, and the Philippines.
It's impressive.
And so it really gives you confidence that, people have dreams. People are people. It doesn't matter what language they speak,
sure,
where they're at, what country they're in, they have dreams. And, the thing we'd always done from the very beginning when we started this, it was important that we had a couple key ingredients. And that was you had an opportunity or a dream, because everybody has that, and you can tie into that emotional side of what it can do for them.
Right.
But the other key part is the crusade. What do you really do for people? Do you do something that's good and helpful and can make an impact to their life? Okay?
Sure.
And in Amway, I could go do that in the opportunity side.
Right.
But selling them soap and stuff didn't really change their life any, right?
Right.
But over here, in the financial side, we could do that. We could really change their future and for their whole family by being able to have a crusade tied to it. So having that system and crusade, that's what we did in each of those countries. Okay? So as I built that, that's about where we were before it came up for sale. That's kind of where all this, where I was, involvement, what was going on.
Okay. And then you had to decide to go down one road or the other. That to me, that's kind of things happened that kind of created a little bit of a crossroads for me. Sure.
Because as the company got sold, at that point I was a senior VP at the home office. Tom and I, Jack, up on the 4th floor, had offices helping to run this whole thing, make the transition. I was running Canada still. That was my main objective, was the international side in Canada. And then, Hubert told me that they weren't buying a Canadian piece. Now,
that must have been a tough day.
Yeah, because now here I am with a decision to make, right? I've just spent 7-8 years of my life up in Canada, a lot of relationships, great people.
Pioneering.
Absolutely. And so my heart and soul was in the Canadian operation. And so I had to make a really tough decision at that point. And so I decided 6 months in after the sale that I was going to leave and go run Canada. And so I made that decision.
Kind of makes sense as you did all that work there.
To me, it was. I missed all the relationships I had here, the opportunities. It was just a wonderful experience. But, my team's all in Canada.
Yeah, all that legwork too.
What am I going to do?
Sure.
And so I decided to leave at that point. And 6 months later, Hubert sold it back to him. So now I'm a man without a country.
Literally.
I just spent all these years building all these relationships, being with all these people, all these leaders. And when you kind of turn your back and go away, they kind of, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
right?
kind of abandon them.
Right. Yeah, that kind of, that feeling's there. And so when that happened, we had a mortgage operation that we'd had. We'd been running a mortgage operation for 5-6 years along with our financial service side. It was a natural fit in the way we were doing it. And Aegon didn't want to buy that. They didn't want that piece.
Do you know why not? Because it would seem like...
they I don't know, maybe they were smart.
Yeah, they didn't see. They saw the crash coming, right? What happened to the rest of us?
What was going on, right? So they didn't want that. I mean, they wanted to. I think the main thing was they wanted to keep it their core business model.
Okay.
That was outside their core business model. That's not where they were expertise at. They wanted to stay what they knew, what they could do, put their money into that. I think that was more the reason why. And so now I'm sitting there with no Canadian, no WFG that I just left. And so made a decision that we would take the mortgage company and we'd build a nationwide mortgage operation.
And you ended up doing very well with that, right?
Yeah, we did. We used the same system that we'd created.
That's impressive that it could transfer industries.
Now it's in a different industry.
Different countries, different industries.
That's right.
Yeah,
so here we are. We're using it over there. It's same system. Okay. I get the manuals out and you'd look at it and you'd go, wow, it's just the products have changed.
Wow.
The companies we're doing are changed.
Right.
But the same flow is all there.
Did it work the same way almost?
Yes, absolutely. And so what we did is we built that. We built a great operation. I mean, we had 100,000 square foot building over here in Johns Creek. Had 300 employees. Wow. The company was, it was doing extremely well. I was making $1 million a year. Wow. I built myself back up to $1 million a year.
Back again, right?
Yeah, back again. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I built myself back up to that, and then, bam, 2008 happened.
What was the name of that company, Jeff?
It was World Leadership Group.
World Leadership Group. Okay, right. Okay.
And that was a great experience too.
You never got the email about the crash coming, I guess, huh?
No.
I missed that one as well.
and when it came, revenue stopped very quick.
Yeah.
It stopped within a 90-day period of time. Revenue stopped. Well, you got a lifestyle, and everybody else has a lifestyle, and it took a couple of years to take and unwind all that.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And get it all. And that was a difficult period, very difficult period, because when you've been at those kind of levels, and now the rug's really been pulled out from under you, from really not anything of you're doing.
Right.
The economic situation just totally changes.
Yeah.
And so it took a couple of years to kind of unwind that, and then I took a few years trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had some opportunities to go build my own company. I had enough contacts and enough people and enough of a reputation that I could do that.
You didn't want to do that, though?
I toyed with it. It sounded romantic in
almost
a way
like a whole
to
other
me.
animal, though, no?
Yeah. Well, and it is, because when you look at it, coming from where I came from and having a model, now you're out there all by yourself.
Yeah, right.
Right, and not only that, you don't have all the support system. Yeah, you may even get a higher contract. Right, which you can do as a personal producer.
Right.
But then you have some problems in, what about capital?
Yeah, your exposure is tremendous too, I imagine.
What do you do if the market changes? What do you do with what I just experienced?
Better have very deep pockets, right?
I had just experienced that.
Yeah, right.
And what do you do if
Lehman Brothers didn't have deep enough pockets for that one. Yeah.
And what if regulators? What if something happens there?
Right.
What if something happens to one of your guys? And just the exposure. And so I looked at it and I thought, well, I've got 10, 15 good years left in me that I really want to get after something. I don't ever see myself ever retiring. Right, I'm good now at 100%.
Right.
Sometime I'll cut it back to 70 or 75, but I don't ever see myself retiring, because I love what I do. I love the passion of it. I love the challenge of it. I love that it keeps me engaged and my mind sharp and challenging me. So I love that side. But looking at it, I thought, well, I don't want the rug pulled out from me again. I want to go someplace that I know it works. They don't have the growing pains that some of these other little companies, or I would have to go through to get there. Right. That I could have the backing that I needed. The money was there. I knew that that wouldn't. And then I knew that it was great leadership here. I'd worked with Tom.
You knew everyone.
Yeah, and I'd worked with Tom for 25 years.
Right.
And I'd been watching all the things Tom was doing.
Talking about Tom Matthews.
Yes,
just
Tom
for
Matthews.
The audience.
No, thank you. And so I made a decision that what we could do is coming here would be a better thing to do. Because then we could because the company had changed, and we could really build a company within a company.
Did you feel funny coming back?
I had some apprehension.
Yeah, but that was a little strange, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've never really gone into this story by any means in this detail with people, right? to what happened.
It must have been kind of strange for you a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know how you're going to be received coming back.
Right. Sure.
And it's had mixed reviews. Okay.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Some very positive. Some really you left us and we don't like you anymore. Right. You were a traitor. Right. I mean, it's kind of an interesting mentality that goes on.
Sure.
And so I had to be willing to kind of put that aside. And
the decision kind of makes sense though when you describe it. I mean, you had all Canada. I mean, why would you? I mean, all that work you did.
Exactly. I totally. Yeah. But coming back, it was a challenge. But I knew that coming back, one of the things that we could really do is with the experience that we've had, what Tom's done, what I've done, really go in and build WealthWave. That was what we could see. That boy, this could be the next generation of all this that we've put together. We take our experience that we've had, we've got all the backing, we've got everything we need, and we can take WealthWave and really go make an impact in people's lives, both from a recruiting standpoint where we can have people, because today one of the things that I want to point out is that, when I'm building a 1,000 sell a month team back in A.O. Williams' days on a $50 a month term product.
Right.
Okay. Well, today, my team's, it's averaged $500 a month.
Yeah, right.
So that's 10 times the money that you're now putting through a distribution system.
Right, same system,
so, well, that means I should be able to do it in a tenth of the time, right?
Sure.
If it's 10 times the money, right? And so I knew that. I knew that could be something that, and I had the experience. And to me, experience is the key to greatness.
Sure.
Now, doing this so long, I look in the mirror and it's kind of shocking that I'm the age I am, and and since I turn 60 every day, I think I can't believe I'm 60.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But on the other side of it, on the flip side of that, you really have experience.
Yeah.
That I didn't have when I started out.
Sure.
I got great experience, great exposure, and so the experience really gives you the confidence that you can go out there and kind of be like the phoenix that's rising from the ashes.
Sure.
And when you build it 6 times, because, I built it in Canada, built it in the other countries, build it in the mortgage side. When that evaporates, back building it here.
Sure.
It's just interesting how the life kind of comes at you and changes and things take place, right?
Right.
And so when it does, you've got to be able to adapt. You've got to be able to rise to whatever occasion is there. And things can happen to you that you don't have any control over.
Sure.
I mean, I learned that in 1986 when I was out in Fresno. My business was doing very well. I was in Sacramento with one of my RVPs, one of my leaders. We'd done a meeting, and we were headed home. And a dog, a big golden retriever, come running out, and it was a 4-lane road, kind of with an occasional light, so it was an expressway. And he hits the dog, and the dog ends up in the middle of the road. And so he pulls off the side of the road, and he decides he's going to get the dog off the road. Well, he goes out and gets the dog out. Next thing I know, I'm sitting there, his wife's in the back seat, I'm in the front seat, and we're sitting there talking. Next thing I know, I'm hearing him out there yelling like crazy. And so I get out of the car and look over there, and what happened, the dog had bit him and was holding on to his hand.
Oh, geez.
And so he's out in the middle of the road with just this dog latched onto him between his legs.
Right.
So, I look, I don't see him coming. I go running out to get that, to help him, get him off the road. And I'm out there, I kneel down, I can't get the jaws open. I stand up to step around to go to the other side, and a car hits us both going 55.
Wow.
So now I'm in Sacramento, my wife's in Fresno, I'm in a strange town. I just been hit by a car, hit me first, then it hit him.
Jeez.
Killed him, and it laid me up for a year. Okay?
Jeez.
So I'm laid up for a year. And a couple things happened that really helped me with some of my perspective of all this is that I learned that if I'd have been in construction, what would have happened? I'd have had nothing. I'd have been devastating.
Right.
But my income grew $60,000 through that year. I'm laid up for a year.
Right.
I've built a team. I've spent the time putting a business together. And instead of, I look at it like it's you're not out sales, you're building a business. You're an entrepreneur. And if you go out and build your business right, you can create an income stream that is not dependent upon you.
Right.
Whereas I was just out, had my income in construction based on me. it would have been devastating.
Sure.
But to take and have it grow 60,000.
That's amazing.
You know, and I learned that too early on, you know, as I was back in these early stages trying to format in my mind what it was, whether I wanted to be, you know, a personal salesman or I wanted to go out and build a team or what I wanted to do, right? Because you got all these, inside this company, you can be any one of those.
Right.
And so I was trying to make a decision what I need to do. And I had where I grew up, there was a hamburger stand called Burger Bar. And it was created in 55, okay? And after games and all that, that's where we'd go hang out. It was a great, I mean, they have hamburgers this big around, the big thick milk. If you're going to eat fast food, it's a place to go, right?
Yeah.
And so they are very successful. The Fowler family that owned it, it's still in existence today. When I go back home, that's one of the places I want to go frequent, right? And eat. But half a block down the street is another fast food company called McDonald's. And they're created within 1 year of each other. And Burger Bar, as good as it is, as great as that food is, they ended up expanding, having 3 outlets. Now they're back down to 1. Have 1 outlet. The food's better. It's a better experience. But they can't compete with McDonald's, who I don't think the food's as good as. If I'm going to eat fast food, I want to eat at Burger Bar.
Right.
But why? It's convenient. It's there. They created a system, a business format system.
Right.
Well, see, that's really what Gerber's book's about.
Sure.
Is the study of McDonald's and all that happened.
Right.
Well, see, as that all transformed in my mind, boy, being able to go out and build distribution and have a system that allowed you to build distribution, to have no lid on it, to make it as big as you really wanted to get it. That's what it was all about. And so when I got hurt and hit by the car, boy, that was proof to me that, wow, this system really works. It's something that, you know, you need something like this in your life because you can't count on life being the same.
Was that part of the 6 times you had to come back, or is that number 7?
That would be 7.
That's basically 7. Jeff, that's number 7.
Yeah.
Wow. You are the cat with at least 7 lives.
I don't know.
Maybe 9.
I don't know why, but it's been good for me. Right?
Character, right?
Yeah,
Character
it has been good for me as I look back on it. And I can't tell you all of it's been blissful. Right? You have your ups and downs. There's some price to pay each time. But each time, I kind of have a philosophy that really in life, what's important is who you become, not just what you do.
Sure.
And so all those, to me, all those processes and all that I've experienced has helped me to become. I'm much more compassionate and caring than I used to be, you know, as life's gone on.
Sure.
My perspective's changed. I look at things differently.
You do kind of soften up a little, I think, as the years go by, right?
Absolutely, you do. And I think these experiences that I've had have helped that. And having to start over and having to, and you know, I kind of like being an underdog. Yeah. I like that. I liked it in sports. I like it here. In fact,
there's no pressure being the underdog, right?
and I like here. I've always looked at this as kind of like business athletics. You know, that's really what this gives you an opportunity to do. And as much as I loved athletics, it was just a natural fit for me. So it's been a wonderful experience.